So why do the Imperial Fists fist so hard? Let me just come at you straight off with a fire fact right off the bat. Traditional thinking with military units has camouflage of some kind in their uniforms. Blended, earthy colors so as the unit doesn't stand out. The Imperial Fist, they're painted yellow, the loudest color imaginable. It's the complete opposite of trying to blend in. It is a color that says, hey, you loser, you trying to take this place? I dare you to cross this line. I triple dipple dog dare you to cross this line. That's the Imperial Fist. Do you like fisting? Hell yeah, you do. Do you like building Legos? Who doesn't in their right mind? And don't get me started with this mega block kitty crap. That's some Iron Warrior skill level stuff. So you like being a stone-faced killer who reads Meditations by Marcus Asparagus while you stack turds in the toilet because building is life? Then you might like the Imperial Fist, and if you don't, this video might open your eyes to them, or it'll teach you how to build a wall around the things that you do like so maybe you can't see them and then the joy of the Imperial Fist will come to you. Or maybe, as I tend to do in my love of Warhammer, I've strayed away from the chapter recently because of more sexy chapters getting more appealing current lore. And I'm looking at you, Dark Angels. They got their fangs dug deep into me right now. Or Papa Leo waking up from his long hibernation. But hibernation, that's for bears. But a bear is the lion of the pine trees. This video is a briefing, if you will. It's a chain sword revving good time of holding the line and torturing yourself to become dead to the world, devoid of all feelings and only motivated by service and your dad's depression. We're running off of catastrophe, not doing good enough, and white monsters. This is why the Imperial Fist, fist so hard. God, that felt good. The Imperial Fist began as the 7th Legion of the Astartes, raised by the Emperor of Mankind during the Unification Wars. It was when they were relentlessly crushing their enemies and building citadels in the name of the Emperor that the Emperor decreed that they would henceforth be known as the Imperial Fist, his unbreakable fist against the darkness. So the Emperor of Mankind, just a quick aside for any new Warhammer viewers, the Emperor of Mankind is an immortal psychic god king who united all of humanity in the before times, in the long, long ago, through war, through a galaxy spanning empire, and now sits half dead on a golden throne, worshipped as a god, something that he has vehemently denied while he was alive and crusading, but he has been in some kind of crazy coma now for almost 10,000 years. Been a few generations ago, and people, you know, tend to forget things and remember them differently. I can't really remember what I had for breakfast yesterday morning, but it was probably something holy. The Emperor had a knack of being a blacksmith of sorts. He liked to forge, he liked to create things. The Imperial Fist didn't ask to be molded into fist. They were hammered into one by the own Emperor's will. They took their form like a wad of iron from a guy making a cheaply made katana that I bought one time at a flea market because I wanted to be a really cool samurai guy. And I went in my backyard and I hit a tree when I was 19. Yes, I was 19 playing with cheaply made, I guess they were Chinese katana, and it shattered when I hit the tree, and I got cut pretty severely in my right arm. Ignorance of youth and really cheap knockoffs. The Emperor molded this unit into his ultimate shield against the forces of Chaos and Xenos, and eventually their fellow brother Space Marines. So Space Marines as a whole are a genetically modified superhuman. Making a Space Marine is, in the most basic explanation, is like taking a child and then breaking them down with brutal training and surgically stuffing them full of super organs and gene altering chemicals and then rebuilding them back up again to a 7-foot tall, power armored, emotion suppressed, fanatically loyal murder monk machine for the Emperor. They did the exact same thing to me in my SWAT training for mankind, for the Emperor. A Space Marine's gene seed is basically the DNA that is used to make them. It comes from their gene father or their sperm donor, as some of us would use today. In this case, it came from Rogal Dorn, the Clint Eastwood of Primarchs. Rogal Dorn is the Emperor's stoic, an unbreakable Primarch. He's a master of defense and discipline who has built the walls of the Imperium. He has stood immovable at the siege of Terra, the universe's largest civil war, and he would rather die than retreat a single inch. Their father's makeup, his traits, his personality, it's reflected in his gene seed. And in this, his gene seed is unusually stable. There's no major mutations that other chapters have seen. Some things that come to mind is like the Space Wolves can turn into werewolves sometimes, and the Blood Angels suffer from a little case of the Draculas, but not the Imperial Fists. There's some oddities, but for the most part, they are solid, they are dependable, and they are pure willpower and grit. They also have rituals of self-punishment and atonement. For example, one ritual known as the Pain Glove subjects a brother to extreme pain without any kind of physical damage to their body. It tests their willpower and it tests their devotion. You remember playing that game when you were a kid where you and another kid would hold your hands together and then you would slap each side of your fist until it got really red and hurt, and then you would pull away and then the other person would win and they'd be like, yeah. This is nothing like that. You're not allowed to give up and the glove owns you. Through all of this, they become loyal, disciplined, ruthless on themselves just as much as they are on the enemies. The Imperial Fist wage war against weakness on all fronts, mentally, physically, spiritually. So tell me, do you have a base of operations on a home planet? That's cute. A barracks. Oh, you've got some nice stuff. A castle on some land. Well, look at that. What do the Imperial Fist have, you may ask? They've got a goddamn planet-sized fortress called the Phalanx, named after a turtle shell type formation that is heavy on close-knit formations and armor and covered in spiky stabby things. Unlike many chapters who have a homeworld, the Imperial Fist operate from this massive warship slash fleet fortress that floats around in space. It's described as perhaps the largest war vessel mankind has ever built, capable of housing countless ships and serving as both a monastery and a war base. Imagine a city the size of Manhattan, welded to a moon, wrapped in cannons, with chapels made of spent shell casings. If that doesn't get your heart pumping, I don't know what else would. So you can come here after a long day of fisting and you can pray to balance out the fisting. The Phalanx is more than a fortress. It's a pilgrimage site. It's a battle barge. It's a flying symbol of imperial perfection. It's the only place in the whole galaxy where the HOA will find you if you don't fire your macro cannons daily. So that bright canary yellow that they paint on their armor, it's not for style, it's a taunt for their enemies. Most chapters wear colors that blend into the void. The Imperial Fists, their color represents defiance. Dorn ordered it to symbolize their refusal to hide, even in the blackest void or the bloodiest siege. Yellow isn't for camouflage. It is a warning label to the bad guys. The color shouts, "We are here. We will not yield. Come die in the light." They paint themselves in the color of dawn because the dawn always comes after darkness, and Dorn's favorite thing to punch is darkness. Did you know that the Imperial Fists were huge Alabama football fans? Because they took the phrase, offense sells tickets, defense wins championships, to a whole new level. They are the Emperor's middle finger. Can't do it because YouTube may demonetize. Ain't that awful though? You have to run things through YouTube filters so that you can make money. Anyway, they are the Emperor's middle finger aimed directly at Chaos, the 7th Legion, the Yellow Wall. I bet you like the way I say yellow. I'm Appalachian, deep in the mountains. Their specialty is siegecraft. They will build, defend, break things, rebuild, and according to lore, they are there to protect, but they are just as capable as anybody else on that stack or in that squad of laying the smackdown on you with that ballistic shield and then ruining all of your chaos bullshit shenanigans. Where most armies will look around and see rubble, the Imperial Fists just see opportunity. To them, siegecraft is more than strategy, it's scripture. They will spend weeks before a fight digging in, calculating, building overlapping fields of fire. So you're not fighting men anymore. You are in a master-crafted trap with no escape. Their motto could have been paraphrased, if you can't beat it, then just build around it and smash everything on top of it anyway. So following the Horus heresy and Chaos's failed attempt to take Terra, the home planet of mankind, Daddy Dorn was real big sad. Following the siege of Terra, Rogal Dorn was consumed by immense grief and guilt over his perceived failure to protect his father, the Emperor. This led him to a period of self-recrimination and recklessness, and culminating in his ill-fated assault of his rival and brother, Peter Turbo, what ended up becoming the Iron Cage incident. And some key factors that drove Dorn to this state was the crippling of the Emperor. Despite being the Praetorian, the protector of Terra, and the master of its defenses, Dorn got separated from his father during the final confrontation with Horus aboard Horus's ship, the Vengeful Spirit. But Dorn was the one to find the Emperor's broken and mortally wounded body after the final duel, a sight that absolutely traumatized him. The immense burden of responsibility that came onto him as the architect of Terra's defenses, Dorn took all these responsibilities about the Emperor's fate very personally. He believed that his strategies and his actions were ultimately insufficient, a failure that haunted him despite the eventual Imperial victory. And this grief was so profound that it became a genetic flaw that affected some of his successor chapters, known as Dorn's Darkness, in which they relive his bottomless woe. It's like getting genetic depression from your dad. The long-standing, resentful rivalry between the brothers Dorn and Peter Turbo festered during the heresy. After the siege, Peter Turbo built an impenetrable fortress to bait Dorn to chase him into it. Peter was motivated by vengeance for the Imperial Fist dismantling his legion, the Iron Warriors Holdens, during the Scouring. The Scouring took place after the Siege of Terra and the Horus Heresy, when Chaos was on the run and licking their wounds. The good guys went out and started scorched earthing everything Chaos and Traitor Legion related, which meant that Dorn was going out and smashing everything that Peter had built. And when you build a sandcastle on the beach and then your brother comes up and steps on it, you're going to have some hurt feelings about it. So Dorn's guilt manifested into a desire for retribution and for penance. He learned of Peter's trap and famously declared that he would bring Peter Robbo back to Terra in an iron cage. In a moment of arrogance and desperation fueled from his own self-loathing, he ignored another of his brothers, Rabute Gorilla Man's warning, and threw his entire legion at the fortress. Smelt like a trap. It looked like a trap. They all knew it was a trap. Dorn was so depressed, he didn't care. He was seeking death through honor of trying to bring Peter to justice. And it was. The Eternal Fortress was not a fortress. It was a massive killing field designed by, we can call Peter Robbo, the brother of Dorn, another master of siegecraft and that kind of stuff. They were two sides of the same coin. This thing was incredible. It was built to bleed Dorn's forces dry. Dorn's legion was brutally mauled over several weeks before Gorilla Man, his timely intervention, ended up saving what small remnants of the group was left from annihilation. The crippling defeat at the Iron Cage, his humiliation at the hands of his rival, and the resultant fragmentation of his legion cemented Dorn's post-heresy sorrow. While the event tempered the Iron Fist, almost completely took him out of existence, it also inflicted a painful and lasting wound on Dork's psyche and his legion's pride. When the Iron Cage incident nearly wiped them all out, Rogal Dorn's survivors were forced to divide into chapters and to successors. And these actually spawned a few of the coolest successor chapters in all of Warhammer 40k. Each original founding chapter of the original 2018 Primarchs have got warbands or sub-chapters that have fragmented off of them. The Imperial Fists have got some of the best. One of the most easily recognizable and probably popular of those chapters is the Black Templars. They are fanatical crusaders who have been on a never-ending holy war for 10 millennia. They are the most extreme of Space Marines. The Black Templars are what happened when Space Marines replaced therapy with holy war and decide that the best way to honor the Emperor is to scream his name while they chainsword everything that moves and is not human. Another very well-known and popular chapter are the Crimson Fist. Although they are near extinct, but they are legendary. They are the Space Marines who can't catch a break. They keep losing their homeworld, and they still punch heretics harder than anybody else. They punch them so hard, they are the Crimson Fist. Their gauntlets covered in blood. You can see that all of this depression and woe is me stuff that came from the stern stoic side of Dorn, they could have used some therapy, but if therapy existed in 40k, Dorn would have invented it, and then he would have fortified it and then yelled at it for not being efficient. I'm a little out of breath. That's enough fisting for one episode. I'm starting to get dry. I mean thirsty. But the next time somebody looks at you and says that the Imperial Fists are born, remind them that they built the Imperium, that they have fought its longest war, and they are still holding the line when everybody else is busy trying to find their dads. Like, share, and subscribe for more grim, dark stories, visions from the warp. I'm Scotty Blades, and remember, the 41st millennium, and only pain builds character. Stay sharp. Goodbye, everybody.